Hello, everybody. We'll just start in a minute. I don't cover Phil as much these days, but this is like a blast from the past. Phil said it was something like, God, it must have been like 8 years ago now that he was going to start the DSP politics channel and he was going to give his hot political takes. And I had said whenever he did that, I was going to like at least watch the first episode because I can't even imagine how bad this is going to be. It's just I don't know. It'll probably just be the most like milk toast, boring takes possible, but it should be fun. It should have some fun doing this. But I'm kind of hyped. I'm kind of get hyped about it. Um, but we will see. Uh, Once again, I don't consider myself to be a detractor. I just followed the saga this far, so we might as well take a look at this and see how it goes. So let's see here. Where are we? Okay, we will start in a minute. Let me just post this to Twitter. Now, I was gonna do something like I played my D&D game earlier. I was actually gonna start recording my like commentary of Fahrenheit 9/11, but that is no longer in the cards for this evening. So we're gonna watch Phil. We're gonna watch DSP Gaming give his political takes. Now, I didn't actually watch the after I left the Kino Casino stream. Apparently, Phil came on at some point. I didn't really watch the part with Phil just because I don't know. I just thought it was probably gonna not be very good. Uh, just boring. Not even like like the takes are probably not even like awful. They're just probably really, really dull. Okay, so let's see here. Argent. Oh, by the way, I'm going on Last Things is like end of year movie festival today. Sorry, not today, but eventually. So the film I've chosen is we're going to do Fahrenheit 9/11, which I think is going to be really really cool. Um for those of you who aren't aware, Fahrenheit 9/11 was a Michael Moore film that came out in 2004. That was just all about the Iraq War. It was about the 2000 election. It was about a bunch of stuff, but we'll do that. So Friday night stream is probably not the best, but it is what it is. Nothing I can do, but I digress.
Mostly from America.
Oops. Let's see here. We'll see. If nobody shows up, I'll just do this some other time. I think if Kino Casino is streaming, then that's probably a bad idea. But oh no, they're offline at the moment. Okay, that's fine. Just I want to respect the sacred time slot. You don't want to go up against somebody else's time slot. So let's see what this is. Let's take a look. You still care about DSP? Not as much anymore. He's going through his redemption arc, but this is something like I said that he promised he would do like 8 years ago. So I'm interested to see like how bad this is going to be. So, okay. Okay, skip the music, or we'll get a copyright strike.
Wow, we actually have more people than I anticipated would be here. We've already got some early contributions. I am Cope just gifted 4 subs to the channel. Thank you, I am Cope. Now let me test this
I wonder if I should
and see if
start
this is going to
streaming
work.
on
So that was
Kick.
4.
I mean, I don't really see a point. Maybe if I like am not lazy, I'll set up multi-stream because I'm sure you can stream to like Kick, Twitch, and YouTube. I just never really bothered just because I don't know. It's just kind of splitting your audience.
Correct. So here we go. It still should. There we go. It did work. So thank you, I am Cope, for the early support. With the 4, who's going to beat I am Cope tonight? Who's going to do more than 4
I'll
subs?
say this: Phil's fan art has gotten better. It used to literally just be his face photoshopped.
So we'll find out. Okay. So as you can see, more and more people are showing up, and I'm wondering when I should begin. I'm going to begin in a moment here. Wow, we actually have more people than I anticipated would be here tonight. I thought 200, and we already have almost 3 and climbing. So this is
I mean, they're
excellent,
not
obviously.
there like because they want to hear your takes, Phil. They're there because they want to make fun of you.
Okay, is everyone ready to begin?
By the
Any
way, let me know if the audio balance is okay. I should be just a bit louder than Phil.
concerns, anything I should know about, anything going on before we begin? Because I'm going to begin momentarily. Or are we good to go? I'm just curious. You know, I've never done a Kick exclusive stream before. I have no clue how this is going to go. Some people actually have gold crowns already. Holy crap, that's awesome. Ask the casino for a shout out. I don't know how exactly I would do that when I'm on my own stream. I don't know how I would do that.
I don't know, you like message Ashton and ask him to.
Darkside Pimp just gifted 21 subs. 21 to start.
This is
Damn,
bad already.
we didn't even begin yet. 21 subs. Let's get an.
I wish people. Actually, I don't even have paid subscribers turned on. Maybe I should do that.
Animation going for that. Sadly, it's only 4 short of the 25 sub animation. But
I've never really done that much as far as like monetize. Like I have a Patreon if people want to throw me a couple bucks on there. And I do get a little bit of money off of ad revenue. I just never really pushed it too hard.
we can do the 10 sub animation. Here we go. Thank you, Darkside Pimp. 21 subs. Let's get that up on the leaderboard.
The King's Tax is so cringe.
Of $105. Wow. So we're already up to 125 and climbing. Thank you so very much, Darkside Pimp. In addition, I just received a $10 tip. It's our first tip of the night.
Tips are tax-free. The tax-free.
And wow, it's barely loading. From Mars Inhabitant. They said, Euphoria. I don't know what the hell that means. Thanks for a $10 tip. I don't even know what that word is.
Euphoria?
Thank you, Mars Inhabitant, our first tipper of the night. Let's get that up on the leaderboard.
This is quality COD.
To be completely honest and transparent with all of
Okay, I'm gonna be on. Okay, so I know I'm not always the highest energy, like most charismatic guy. Am I at least less boring than Phil? I get that I sometimes pause because I'm thinking, or I don't know. I feel like my streams are substantially less boring. I think I actually do the cozy quality.
of you. I have absolutely no idea how the show's going to do. I don't know if it's going to get good support. I don't know if people are going to like it. I have no clue. We're going to find out.
Garbage.
This is something you guys have asked me for years and
Yeah.
years and years. And I said, I'm going to hold off. I'm going to hold off. And now that this election is over, I'm like, okay, let's try it. Let's see what happens. Okay.
Should I reschedule this? Because I have 10 viewers. Like, I'll go if I'm not going to get more than that. I just don't know if maybe this is just a really bad time. But I got people in chat. I just want to have at least a couple people in chat. Otherwise, it helps with the energy.
Are we ready to begin now? Are we good? We got a bunch of contributions in. Thank you so much for the early contributions. Like I said, I will be shouting out contributions live as well during the show. Gonna basically do the intro, a little bit of a intro, and then give the.
I should just completely sell out and just start doing React videos. Like, I guess I kind of do React videos. I don't see, like, commentary videos as exactly the same as React videos. I kind of feel like for commentary videos, there's like at least a purpose covering it. And you at least have something to add to it. Whereas a react video is you just kind of sit there in the quiet and make noises like a Muppet.
Premise of the show, explain how it's going to work, and then we're going to do transition to our first story of the night. Okay? How many chatters are there? I have no clue how to see that. I know how many viewers we have.
Is there anyone who's less of a showman than Phil?
I have no clue how to see how many people are actively chatting. Too much of a noob on Kick to understand that.
Well, Pletchmeister, I don't really cover him very much anymore. I've covered him a little bit this year because he's going through his redemption arc. But the redemption arc is like really boring.
Many people showing up. Even more are coming. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Shall we begin? I think we should begin. Here we go. Let's do it.
Phil content is kind of like how I built my channel. Is I got a lot of people who came back when I covered Phil more. A lot of them stayed for other stuff though. Like I never just did Phil. I would just periodically do one of his streams and stuff like that. But no, it helped build up the channel a lot. So a lot of people are here from that era. So that dead air. Who has more dead air, Dickers or Ralph? Or Ralph has a lot too, or Phil. Wow. Okay. I have to just skip the music.
As you will, on the DSP Reacts channel. Now, I will be shouting out contributions during the show as if it's one of my normal live streams. I do have goals in effect. However, we already had an abundance of support early on. I don't think we're going to have too much of an issue hitting goals. In fact, I feel like we're probably going to be exceeding them tonight on the show. So thank you in advance to anyone who contributes, and thanks to those who already have.
Let's just take a look because this is probably more interesting. So let's look at the background. We've got the PlayStation things. That's very generic. I actually have that bobblehead because my mother for Christmas got me the collector's edition of Fallout 3. I actually have that on my desk at work. Kind of interestingly enough. That poker chip is from the stream he did with Kino Casino, going after Rich from Review Tech USA.
Subs come in. One just came in. A gifted sub from Digital. I don't know why I'm looking there. I have the chat right in front of me, and I am trying to squint at my my monitor across the room. Digital Bobby gifted a membership. Thank you for the gifted membership, Digital Bobby.
Oh, it's a Funko Pop? Okay, because I have the bobblehead that came with the Fallout 3 Collector's Edition. It came in like the aluminum lunchbox. Let me see. What do I have up on my walls? I have a painting that my mother made of Cinque Terre. I have a Union Jack, a Canadian flag, a Norman flag. I have a canvas print of Wander Above the Sea of Clouds. I have a picture of Melania, Blade of Mikola. I have like a 3-part picture of a misty forest. And we have I think I have this kind of cool picture. I think it's the eclipse from Berserk or something like that. And then in my hallway, I have Blade Runner 20, whatever it is. And I have a bunch of flags. I think I have an English flag, Red Ensign, Papal flag, Knights Templar flag, and the Imperial flag from Star Wars.
Guitar Player 1939 just gifted a membership. And
I have a couple Funko Pops. I have a Mew one, a Umbreon, and a Sylveon.
Right now, an anonymous gifter just gifted a membership. So between those 3 gifted subs to the channel, I should call them subs. They're subs here on Kick. My bad. They're not memberships. It is official. We have just hit my goal, and we don't have to worry about this for the rest of the night, but any contributions that come in, thank you.
God bless the goal.
All very, very much for them. I have a streak of ongoing positivity and support across all of my content that I very much appreciate you guys coming out, checking this out. I didn't know how it was going to go, but we did it for 66 straight streams.
Is it positivity, Phil, or is it people gaslighting you?
The goals,
Same
crushing
thing,
my
really.
trolls, making content, having fun, being awesome on the internet. This is what it's all about. The resurgence is real. The king is back. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, whether it's gameplay, whether it's podcasting, whether it's a political show. People are here and people are ready
No,
for
they
fun.
are.
So
Phil,
thank
no
you
one
guys
watches
very,
it.
very much for that. I appreciate that. Thank you for keeping the momentum going. And basically, there's two ways to contribute: subs and gifted subs here on Kick, or tipping. I will shout out all contributions, but also if you tip, you actually have the opportunity to put a message in the body of your email that I will then read out live here on stream. So
Okay,
if you're maybe
Phil,
not in the
Phil literally gets... Okay, so I have a channel of 11,000 subscribers. And I get... I get more views per video than Phil does. And I don't even have that high a proportion of my audience. So, let me just take a look at it. I'm just trying to give... This is not a flex at all. Okay, so my video on the Japanese election got about 1,000 views, which is more than Phil's podcast gets with 214,000 subs. What's a recent live stream? My election post mortem, or maybe that's higher. The latest episode of the UCU got 900 views. So, Phil, it's not going great, man. It's not going great.
Kick chat, but you still want to communicate with me during the show, tipping is the way to go. All right. So I think I'm ready to start. I don't know about you guys. Terry Bogart just subscribed to the channel. Thank you so much, Terry, for the sub. I appreciate that. Thank you for your support tonight. All right. Ladies and gents, let's do this. Let's get in to our very first topic of the night.
Oh, this is cringe. Oh. So I never did any of this stuff, not even because I couldn't do it. I think I tried putting an intro on one video and people complained and they just said it was a waste of people's time and they just preferred if I got right into it. I could put this stuff in. I just find it annoying personally. I don't really find it adds anything, but that's just me.
Alrighty, everyone. So first up, for the first story to ever be covered on DS Politics, I have a story that it's from a local news agency. However, this is actually a bigger topic than just locally here in Washington State, where I happen to live. This is something that has been going on ever since the presidential election ended last week and Donald Trump defeated Kamala Harris. Let's take a quick look and let's actually watch this little bit of a excerpt from a news story that was actually run on the local.
Yeah, I tried having a soundboard, but it was just too much of a pain to hit stuff on it. And it was just annoying to stop the show for me to hit it. So I just never did that. The reason I don't have music for the pre-show is because when I had music for the pre-show, I got copyright strikes.
TV stations here. Here it is. It's heart-wrenching. Washington woman receives racist text sent to many people across the country.
Base?
The FBI is investigating after racist text messages were sent to Black Americans across the country. And here's the story. We are going to watch it, but I think before we even watch the story, we should actually see what this text message is, should we not? So,
messages sent to Black Americans all across the country, including some people right here in Western Washington.
Okay, press 1 if this actually happened. Press 2 if this didn't happen. I'm gonna say there's a 90% chance this either didn't happen or this was Shlomo shut it down something.
studio after speaking with a woman who received.
Okay, let's look at that. Greeks, you have been selected to pick cotton at the nearest plantation. Be ready at 10 p.m. sharp with all your belongings. The executive slaves will be picked up in a brown van. Be prepared to be searched down upon arrival to the plantation. You're in plantation group A. So I am guessing that this is fake, because it's like, it's not funny, it's not clever, it doesn't sound like something a troll would write. This sounds like something some like intern would write at the ADL.
Okay, so everyone can
The ADL is not sending their best.
hear, everyone can see, correct? It's working. So here's the text message that apparently people across this country, the United States of America, have been receiving since the election ended.
Wow.
Okay? I'm going to read it. Greetings. You've been selected to pick cotton at the nearest plantation. Be ready at 10 p.m. sharp with all of your belongings. The executive slaves will pick you up in a brown van, so be prepared to be searched down upon arrival to the plantation.
Okay, like there's a 0% chance that this is real. Maybe like a 5%. The ADL or the SPLC or somebody did this, and it's like, look, Trump's a racist. It's just fake and gay.
You are in plantation group A. Okay, then. So this
so
is
lame.
the real text message going out to Americans right now. Now let's watch the story. All right, and then allow me to respond and react to the story. But first, let's watch the entire
This
story.
is
Here
like
we
the
go.
kill
2
stream.
text messages, Bridget.
Yeah, officials have described these texts as disgusting and disturbing. From young kids to adults, we've learned that Black Americans have received messages like this one telling them that they've been selected to pick cotton. The messages themselves didn't break any laws, but the FBI is trying to figure out who sent them.
I got this text twice. It reads, "Greetings, you have been selected to pick cotton at your..."
In a video that's now gone viral, Isella Rayner shares the text messages she received from numbers she doesn't recognize.
The first couple words.
You like Google and it's the ADL. Oh, wait, did I hit the wrong button?
On the show. So thank you in advance. We should actually see what this text message is.
Got these messages Wednesday, the day after the election. What do you think about the timing of it?
It's a little fishy. It's a little fishy.
This is kind of their end zone spike, kind of their.
This is their end zone spike, and he nodded. What the hell? Let's keep going.
Hanging on
It's hard for me to not comment. I want to watch the story first. It's very hard for me to not comment on it as it's
the
happening.
rim, kind of the in your face.
Leslie Braxton is a pastor at New Beginnings Fellowship in Kent. He didn't get a text, but many people he knows did.
This is the cruel part of American culture.
By the way, one thing I'd just like to point out, okay, before we even continue.
Okay.
You see this right here? It's good to have a nice pointer here. You see what this is? You see what that says? It says report junk. You see that? The sender is not in your contact list, report junk. I'd just like to point that out before we continue. Okay, let's continue.
We are a part of and fight for the noble part.
What?
It's still unclear who sent the messages.
It's the
But
ADL.
Text Now, which offers free phone numbers online, says at least one of its accounts
Okay, press 1 if this was the ADL or SPLC. Press 2 if this was legitimately like edgy people who were trying to fuck with black people.
may have been involved and said they shut down the accounts and are working with authorities.
No, you mean that someone would have used a method to be a third party kind of a deal to hide their identity who's sending those texts?
Bill
You mean
uses Teams.
someone wouldn't be proud to just send that text out?
What
for-
a pleb. What kind of pleb uses Microsoft Teams? I see Handbrake. I see VLC. Yeah.
their real number and, not be afraid of any kind of repercussions? No way. I never would have guessed that some kind of a spoofing service would have been used.
That's like the scariest part, that this is only targeting people of color.
Braxton says, unfortunately, he isn't surprised by any of this.
By the way, Darkside Pimp just gifted another sub to the channel. Thank you so much, Darkside Pimp. I appreciate that tonight.
Part of being black in America.
I appreciate that the Kino Casino has started reading super chats in like breaks instead of just doing them. They've also like aren't yelling as
America
much.
is dealing with microaggressions. Every now and then people will say out in public what we know they say under their breath.
And we've learned that there are possibly more texts circulating targeting other minority groups, and we're working to confirm those details. Reporting live in studio.
Well,
Brittany
the
Chavez.
source for that is
Okay.
Troust M. Brow. Troust M. Brow contacted the news association and said there was other texts out there.
So we've seen the story now, okay? And I mean, there's so many things to unpack in this story, quite frankly. For a 2-minute video, 2.5 minutes, and the fact that this is actually starting to make not even just local, but this is starting to spread across the country, kind of national news over the last month, I feel like there's a few things to kind of discuss and take a look. So first of all, before we even address the more specificness of it, let's be honest. This is a messed up message for anyone to get, to be told that like, oh, it sounds like you're about to lose your personal freedoms. Get out. You're about to be a slave. I mean, it's messed up, correct? We can
Look at that hot take from Phil.
all agree there. It's not a nice message. It's not, oh, that's not a warm-hearted jab or joke. That's a pretty mean-spirited message to get. And I think there's no one out there who's going to say, oh, no, that was a good one. It's more like, haha, what an asshole. What a piece of shit to send someone that message, okay? Now, the story says a few things that I feel like we need to address before we can even continue. The first thing it says is that this text message is going out to people of color, okay? Did the news story actually present any evidence of that whatsoever besides the one woman who was interviewed and the one person who I believe was a pastor or...
Wow, Phil is actually making a good point. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe this is going to be good.
Some religious leader who said that certain people that he knows have gotten it. Okay, where is the evidence that this is only going out to people of color? If you read the message, okay, it says nothing whatsoever about race. Now, obviously, the reference of cotton picking, which is a racist reference because it was here in the United States of America where many African slaves were basically forced to pick cotton in plantations and fields, correct? This is factually true. So obviously that's what the reference is, but nowhere there does it say that this is towards a certain group of people. Now, if they had come onto this report and said, hey, we have all this data, we've been gathering data all week, and we found out that 5,000 people of color got this message and only 200 white people got it, then you'd be like, all right, you know what? That's pretty bad. That means that's a targeted harassment campaign, okay? That means that there's a big problem here. Who is doing this? And you know what my question would be? How are people finding out people's races and sending text messages to people of color specifically? Like, I'm sorry, sometimes a name could be a giveaway of your ethnicity, but not always. How are you going to know that who you're texting?
Wait a minute, did Phil just make like a good take for once? I'm kind of shocked. Like,
right, is a person of color. Is it an actual targeted stalking campaign? If so, that's actually very disturbing. That someone has access to that kind of data and they could sit there sending targeted messages towards people of certain ethnicities. To me, sounds more like someone who has too much time on their hands, went to one of these third-party sites, sat there and just literally mass texted a ton of people this message. And it just so happens that some of the people that it went to were people of color, and it hit home because, hey, if you're a person of color and you're being told that you're going to be a slave, yeah, that's pretty offensive, okay? But this news story doesn't have that data anywhere in the story. It never mentioned numbers. It never mentioned, here's what our research found. Just, oh, it's going to people of color. Here's one person who got it, who's offended and made a TikTok post about it. So let's interview her. And then let's interview this guy who's, I guess, a pastor. And, oh, he says some people in his congregation got it. But who else got it? Right? That's the data I want to know. Now, the other fucking, I said fucking because I got upset. The other thing about this story, Got to be professional. This is a politics show. I can't be saying the F word. The other thing, all right, is this message itself is admitted in this news story. It's outright admitted there's nothing illegal about this message. Now, you could say this message is very offensive. It's insincere. It's not insincere. It's inconsiderate. It's actually targeting a group. It's trying to be insulting. Absolutely, all of that stuff that is true, but it's not illegal. So why is the FBI investigating this? The Federal Bureau of Investigation is investigating a mean text message. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know who I am. Allow me to explain. My name is Darksydephil. I've been a content creator for 16 years. I have arguably received more harassment of this nature and far worse in the 16 years that I've been a content creator than probably almost every person on earth. There's probably maybe another 50 people who got it worse than me because they're like, you know, horrible, awful murderers and crime committers and shit. But I've had it pretty fucking bad. All right. If the FBI investigated every time that I got a mean
He has to make it about himself, but he does kind of have a point.
Tweet, a mean text, an email, a post, shit. There's people who have entire businesses based around talking shit and insulting me and my family members. The FBI would need an entire fucking wing, a building full of agents personally investigating all the mean shit that's been sent to me or said to me or my family members, because that's how much there's been. Is there a single FBI agent who's ever investigated an insult towards me? No. So why is the FBI investigating this particular text message? What is the trigger here? It's not against the law. We don't even have any evidence that this has been sent specifically to people of color. Or at least the evidence hasn't been presented to us. I would like to see it. Like I said, if that evidence does exist, I would actually be like scared. Like, how the hell did they get that information that they're targeting certain races? I don't even know that's possible.
But isn't this like, you know what, people, and I'm looking at the chat here, this is like the most like, who cares? It's just kind of a nothing burger news story.
How would you know the color of someone you're texting?
Okay,
right?
I'm sorry.
But
I'm going to skip the next segment.
Except this is text messaging, so it's slightly different. I guess you could argue it's a messaging troll. This is someone who is
How
trying to
long
get
does
attention.
this go on? I'm sorry,
And ladies
guys.
and gentlemen,
I'm going to cheat.
they are, because you keep reporting on it.
It's so fucking
The
boring.
more you keep saying to everyone here, I hope you're enjoying the show. I really do.
Dude,
that
no
was
one
just
is.
the warm-up. So it was actually, it was Toasty Chestnuts who gifted a sub. And then right now, Darkside Pimp just gifted a sub. So thank you to both of you for gifting those subs. I appreciate that. That really helps a ton. And thank you for supporting the channel here tonight. Cool. So now I have it open. I'll be able to pop back and forth there as I need to see fit. We have a few tips to shout out, and then we're going to get to arguably our biggest story of the night. We're going to talk about the election. I know that's what a lot of people want. It's TS politics. You want me to talk about the election?
Like, so he led with the most boring story he had.
That's what we're going to get to. Okay? I'm being told there's a politics category on Kick. Is that true? Can one of the moderators change the stream category over to politics then? Because I wasn't aware that that was actually a category, and that would be probably more appropriate for what we're doing tonight. All right, a couple of quick shout outs here. So Mr. Fuppy Nipples just did a $2.25 tip and says the FBI is investigating it because it's a hate crime. They literally said in the story, no crime was committed. Wrong. Completely false. There is no crime in that text whatsoever. It's definitely...
He doesn't even know what a hate crime is, which I guess is kind of base, to be honest. This is like some odd conservative take. Like, there's no hate crime, there's just crimes and non-crimes.
Definitely mean. It's definitely insulting. It's definitely targeted at a certain group, but it's not a crime. Nothing in that was illegal whatsoever. They outright said it. You can add a maturity flag. That's totally fine. Go ahead and add a maturity flag to the stream. I'm okay with that. Go for it. Okay. Folks, are we ready? We're going to get into the next topic, which is going to be the big one for the night for sure. So I hope that you guys are ready. Here we go. Let's continue with DS Politics tonight.
Oh my god. Lord help this.
So, ladies and gentlemen, last week, just a little over a week ago, was the presidential election here in the United States of America for 2024. Donald Trump against Kamala Harris, former president versus the current vice president. And it was a heated race for sure. It was a fast race because, as you know, it was supposed to be current president and sitting president Joe Biden against Donald Trump. But for some reason, the Democrats decided so late in the game, they wanted to swap candidates over and have Kamala be their candidate for president. Now, we can sit here and argue all day about what happened there, but I think we all know, and it's old news anyway, correct? But one of the things that Democrats particularly have been really racking their brains about in the last week is, why did the Democrats lose this election? Because it seemed like all the momentum was behind the Democratic Party.
No,
in fact, if you were to watch mainstream media, if you were to watch...
No, there was no momentum, Phil. I mean, I guess in the mainstream media there was, but there was no energy whatsoever in the Kamala campaign. Trump just mogged her at every opportunity. Like, can anyone remember something memorable Kamala did this time other than coconut tree? Excuse me, sorry. Or Brad? We had like Trump at McDonald's, Trump assassination attempt, Trump garbage truck, Trump on Joe Rogan.
Watch television, news shows and reports, they were all reporting the week of the election that Kamala was leading all of these polls of what states that she was going to take, including...
I mean, so they might have said that on the mainstream media, but like on Real Clear Politics, I think it was... the results were not that far off. We went over this. It was pretty close. It was within the margin of error. The polls were fairly accurate. There was a couple outlier polls that were obviously released to screw with the average, but mostly it wasn't that bad.
Most of the swing states supposedly were supposed to have, a Kamala-focused attack or approach for their voting. So what happened? It just doesn't seem to make any logical sense, does it? If all the news said that she was going to win, if all the polls said she was going to win, how is it that she lost? And in addition to that, how is it that President-elect Trump not only won this election via the Electoral College, which is the process we have to select our president in this country.
Rain, say hi to
but
everybody.
how did he also win the
Can I get a
popular
meow?
vote? For those who don't know, it's two different kinds of voting. The popular vote is just the populace, you and me voting, all being counted and tallied up, while the Electoral College is something a little different. Well, he won both. Okay? How is... mind-blowing. How could he have won both if everything was telling us that the Harris campaign was in the lead, right? So what we're going to do tonight, we are going to go through some selected videos that I have gotten, and I think that you're going to enjoy this one, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to Kamala Harris's YouTube page. This is where, for the last 4.5 months, she launched her political campaign. She put out videos that were...
Mamala, anti, she, her. Well, I admit I avoid, like, I would not cover like Kamala really, because it was just too much.
Highlights of the things that she wanted people to know about. And basically, this is a good hub to sit at and say, wait a minute. So where was her campaign? How did it start? Where did it go?
Maybe when we get to the Canadian election, I'll subject you guys to Pierre Poilievre. And if you thought Justo was cringy, you're right. Justo is cringy, but Poilievre is worse.
How did it end? And what exactly was she trying to get at? All right. So the first thing we should do, I mean, just a little observation here. She put out 785 videos. Now, not all of those were put out in the last 4 months. However, a lot of them were. And 864,000 subscribers. I'd be willing to bet she probably didn't have that many until she became the presidential candidate. You would think that someone that's running for president might have more, but it is what it is. Again, it was a big rush job. Remember, originally she wasn't running for president. It was Biden, and then they swapped over. So maybe you can kind of justify some of this stuff, right? So the first thing I want to do tonight, I want to actually watch her original video. Kamala Harris launches her campaign for president about 3 months ago. So this was basically her very first video saying, I'm running for president. Let's see what she had to say in her announcement video.
In this election, we each face a question. What kind of country
And I can pause with space bar on YouTube. I wanted to test that. Okay.
do we want to live in? There are some people who think we should be a country of chaos, of fear, of hate. But us, we choose something different. We choose freedom.
I've never seen that before. That is cringe.
Hey, guess what? I'm on kick. I don't have to worry about getting any problems with this song. Good shit.
So join us. Go to KamalaHarris.com and let's get to work.
I'ma keep on running cause the winner don't quit on themselves.
And that's it. Then it just gets her little outro. So that's her first message to the American populace that she's running for president. Donald Trump wants a country full of chaos, disorder, basically.
So Sean John Ron made a very good point. It's still substantially better than CNN's coverage, which I'm going to have to agree with you on that one.
Everything going to hell in a handbasket. What we want is a country of freedom. Now, she did actually hit upon some things. For example, she mentioned safety from guns. She mentioned reproductive rights of women. She hit some topics, but this is her announcement. And literally the first thing she presents is, well, we're anti-Trump. That's the first thing, right? Then she kind of later on goes into some topics that maybe some Americans would actually specifically identify with and care more about. But first thing out of her mouth, Trump is the enemy, country of chaos. No one's above the law. Okay, so that was her very first message to the American populace. Let's take a look at some highlights of some of the things that she talked about over the course of her campaign. Here's a big one. Ready? Enemy within, only a 30-second clip. Let's see what this is about.
Donald Trump, more dangerous, more erratic than ever before.
Echoing fascists.
The worst people are the enemies from within.
The enemy from within are more dangerous than Russia.
We have some very bad people. It should be very easily handled by the military.
I do remember the day that he suggested that we shoot people on the streets.
A second term would be worse. There will be no one to stop his worst instincts. Unchecked power, no guardrails. If we elect Trump again, we're in terrible danger.
I swear to God, that's real. That is, I'm just going to show you. That is straight from her YouTube page. That is not doctored. That was not made up. They made a 30-second fear-mongering video saying that if Donald Trump gets elected president again, there will be no checks on his power whatsoever. He'll be able to do whatever he wants with no consequences. And basically, you're going to ruin the entire world. So, I mean, again, she's running for president. Is she? Or is she running to say, stop Trump? Is this, I want to be the president, and here's what I'm going to do as your president? Or is this, here's what we need to do to stop Trump? I think we're starting to see a running pattern, correct? This is a pattern now. This is not, oh, it just kind of happened a couple times. Her introductory video had it. Here's a video of fear.
You know what? I get the point that Phil's trying to make, and I'll just say it up front because I think what he's trying to say is that Kamala's entire campaign was about how much she hated Trump, and she didn't really present any policies or message or anything of her own, and she lost because of that, which is accurate and actually isn't that bad a take. It's kind of a normie take. It might be a cold take, but it's like not a bad take, if that makes sense.
What she's going to do as president to help the people. For those who don't know, I don't know how it works in other countries. In the United States of America, when you become a politician and elected official, you are considered what's called a public servant. If you don't know what that means, it means your job is to serve the American people. They elect you, and then you do work to make their lives better or to protect them or whatever it may be. Where in this video did she talk about that? Okay? Typically, elections are about issues. It's about, hey, this is what I'm going to do as president. This is what they want to do as president. Here's why my stance is better. This was literally, Donald Trump is the devil, and if he gets elected again, everything is over. It's 100% manufactured fear-mongering. You're trying to get people scared to vote for Kamala, even though you don't even know what her stances are. you can't get Trump in there. We've got to vote against it. Okay? Let's continue. So now we're going to have two different videos that are actually directly related. This was actually one of the major soapboxes that Kamala Harris stood on during her candidacy for the American presidency. And we're going to watch them back to back because I think they're both very pertinent. And then I actually have some corroborating evidence and documentation to follow up. And then we're going to talk about the topic. Before we do, I got a couple of tips that just came in.
I'm going to be honest. This is way better analysis than like 90% of the pundits on Twitter. Like 100%.
I just received a $3 tip from Lady Charisma. Seems like voters didn't educate themselves. Google searches for terms like "did Biden drop out" and "who is Kamala" went up in the final week. And now searches for "can I change my vote" have gone up. Seems like folks blindly voted or didn't even look into things enough. That's actually true. That's pretty funny. They searched Google search history and like an insane amount of people were voting for "did Biden drop out" on election day. You didn't know? Where the fuck were you for the last 3-4 months? Living under a fucking rock? Like, holy shit. And what a day to be asking that question.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Kamala just kind of hid in the basement for the entire campaign, so I can't really blame people.
On the day you're supposed to be voting, now you're going to ask the question. I also just received a $5 tip. Well, someone sent me a video link, guys. I can't accept video links via tips, particularly too. That's not even connected, like the laptop here and that. And I'm not going to watch it because it's probably a troll video. Thank you for the $5 tip, whoever that was. But I'm not going to watch that. I'm just going off of, what was listed here on YouTube. And then I received a $2 tip. This guy is countering. He says Trump's entire platform is that Kamala is a border czar, and then he continues on. I understand what you're saying. That's not the topic. The topic is, how did the Democrats lose? The topic is not, how did Donald Trump win? How did Donald Trump win is actually a different question. Legit, it's a different question. But let's analyze this from the Democratic angle, because we're trying to see, hey, if I was someone who votes Democrat, and I wonder, there's what she stands for, this is what she was using to win people over. Let's continue, okay? And by the way, Darkside Pimp just gifted a whopping 10 subs to the channel. Thank you, Darkside Pimp, for 10 gifted subs. That is absolutely amazing. Now you're up to what? 30, I think you're at 32 tonight. And that's another $50 of support here tonight. Thank you so very much, Darkside Pimp. So amazing. Thank you. All right. All right, here we go. Let's continue. So this is the next topic that Kamala really focused on during her campaign. There's two videos here, so let's go ahead and watch them both. Here's the first.
I've never slept a full night.
Why in the holy hell is that video so loud? Hold on a second. That is really loud. Let's try that again.
Entire life. I was 5 years old when my stepfather abused me for the first time. I just felt like I was alone on a planet with a monster.
Terrible. Awful.
I was 12 when he impregnated me.
Well,
I just remember thinking, I have to get out of my skin. I can't be me right now. Like, this can't be it. I didn't know what to do. I was a child. I didn't know what it meant to be pregnant at all.
Nor should she need to know. It's insanely disgusting what happened to her.
But I had options. Because Donald Trump overturned Roe v. Wade, girls and women all over the country have lost the right to choose, even for rape or incest. Donald Trump did this. He took away our freedom.
And that's it. And then this heartfelt song at the end. Okay, so before we get to the next video, which is directly tied into this, Donald Trump did not take away your freedom. Donald Trump didn't do that. That was the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, you can argue that Donald Trump, during his presidency, got some people into the U.S. Supreme Court, and now that they're sitting in those seats, they voted a certain way to overturn Roe v. Wade. But no, Donald Trump did not get rid of Roe v. Wade. Donald Trump did not get rid of the ability of women to have abortions in the United States. He did not ban abortions in the United States. This is all misinformation. Literally, it's complete. Like, her story up to the point where she started talking politically was awful. And I felt for this woman, how awful. 12 years old to be abused by her stepfather and then have to go through a pregnancy. And of course, she had options. And, it's really messed up, her story. No child should have to go through that. But the moment she opened her mouth and started saying, well, now Donald Trump did pass Roe v.
Guys, am I hallucinating, or is Phil actually like significantly better than CNN and like is more factually accurate and is more like living in the real world? Like, this is unironically better than 90% of the journalists I've seen on Twitter.
Wade and Donald Trump took away. No, Donald Trump did none of that. That's all completely false. So this video is actually complete misinformation. I don't even know why it's allowed on YouTube, but you know, YouTube selectively enforces its policies. This should not be on YouTube in any way, shape, or form. It's not right. It's actually a complete lie of a video. Okay? Let's continue. On to the next one that's tied directly into this one. This one's really sad. All right? I saw this one. This one actually made me tear up a bit because it's such a sad story. Okay? Andrea and her husband prayed for a baby. In 2022, she was finally pregnant. For the record, it was the middle of 2022 when Roe v. Wade was overturned, and now the right to an abortion, getting an abortion, was turned over to the individual states of the United States, meaning every one of the states now decides for themselves whether or not abortion is legal or not, and what the rules are governing that, whether you can have some abortions in some cases, or you just can't have no abortions at all. Or
what does it say when like Phil has a better understanding of the abortion issue than basically 80% of the mainstream media?
Everyone can have an abortion. It's every state's different. Okay. So now the states decide. So that's what they're referencing. She got pregnant in 2022 when Roe v. Wade was overturned. Okay. So let's continue.
Her blanket.
This one's also really loud. I don't know why some of these are much louder than others. At 16 weeks, she suffered a miscarriage.
First of all, I'm the one that got rid of Roe v. Wade.
Do you believe in...
Okay. I actually find that clip funny, and here's why. Because that's Donald Trump being an idiot, literally talking out of his ass. No, he didn't. Donald Trump, you did not get rid of Roe v. Wade. The U.S. Supreme Court did. You did not do that. But you know how he is. He is blusterous. He's a big talker, and he wants to take credit for every possible thing. So for him, oh, I got rid of Roe v. Wade. No, you didn't. Yes, maybe you wanted to get rid of it. Maybe you wanted it to go back to the states, and it's not a federal mandate anymore that abortions are legal. But you didn't do that. The Supreme Court did. So, but the thing is, and this is what I think, sadly, Donald Trump doesn't realize, is the things he says that are blusterous and big exaggerations, they're used as ammo against him. He doesn't he just talks. I think a lot of people like him because of that, but they get used against him as ammo, and then he looks stupid later. Because, no, you didn't do that. And now they're going to call you out on that in a video and say you did when you actually didn't, and it makes you look like a heinous villain when you didn't actually do it. Anyway, let's continue. So anyway, because Donald Trump killed Roe v. Wade, Andrea was denied standard medical care to prevent infection and abortion. So they're saying in her case...
How is it an abortion if the baby's in the... Okay, so I've talked to multiple people who are doctors about this. So this is fake. Okay, so I don't think any of the laws in any of the states prevent the removal of a dead fetus. I don't think that that's a thing. Now, what happens is there are doctors who engage in medical malpractice, and as a way to get back at women and to get back at Republicans and stuff like that, and to create these stories, don't do what they're legally allowed to do, and would rather just basically, like I said, violate their Hippocratic oath to try to save these women, then, yeah.
Case, she had a medical complication during her pregnancy, okay? In order to prevent an infection because of what was going on, she needed to get an abortion. Well, I guess what they're about to say is in her state when Roe v.
How is it an abortion, though, if the baby's dead? I don't know. Maybe I don't understand, like, the definition. I don't know.
Wade was overturned. They're not allowed to have one. So let's continue.
Punishment for abortion. There has to be some form of punishment. For the woman? Yeah, there has to be some form.
I know these are the disturbing images, but we have to watch them.
Women will be happy, healthy.
Andre?
Once again, also, if you know anything about Catholicism, there is, and I've talked to tradcaths, there is nothing in Catholicism that would prevent you from removing a dead fetus from a woman for medical reasons. Like it's not it's irrelevant.
Andrea developed a life-threatening septic infection.
Confident and free. You will no longer be thinking about abortion.
A 6-hour surgery saved her life, but she'll live with permanent damage forever. That's awful.
So all they talk about abortion, you will no longer be abandoned.
It's been 2 years and she still hasn't fully recovered. I can't imagine, what her body's going through, what she's going through. And it's not even just her body, it's her mind too. Her mind's probably broken from all of this.
Lonely or scared.
She may never get pregnant again.
You will no longer have anxiety. You will be protected and I will be your protector.
She lives with the daily reminder of what Trump did. Again, he didn't, but okay. I get it. A new way forward. Okay? So again, Trump. We watched 4 videos.
Okay, so the Texas law, Texas law exception in the case of rape or incest. Sorry, not rape or incest. It's not specific in those cases. There's exception in the life or health of the pregnant patient is at risk. So, yeah.
It was Trump. 4 in a row. Okay? Now, in regards to what we just watched, I want you to understand that actually those women's stories are not lies. This is factually true stuff. In fact, if you do your research, which I did, okay, what we found is that with abortion bans going on throughout this country, there are women who are definitely at increased risk and having these kind of problems. For example, abortion bans limit care for those who are experiencing a miscarriage or a stillbirth. The medical interventions used to manage pregnancy losses are often the same medicines and procedures used in an abortion. So since they ban the abortion, they can't use the procedures to help the women anymore. Okay? While all state bans have exceptions for cases like life endangerment of the pregnant person, they do not necessarily...
Okay, I'm just looking at a couple. Mississippi has a life exception. Are there actually any of them that do not have a mother's life exception?
Account for the wide range of circumstances people may face when experiencing a pregnancy loss. This has resulted in several cases of women experiencing health-threatening situations with imminent fetal demise or an early stage of pregnancy loss, yet being unable to obtain medical treatment until their health declined to the point where their lives were on the line. So what does this mean? It means that before Roe v. Wade was overturned, if a woman was getting an infection like this lady was in the story we just watched, she would go to the doctor and the doctor would say, this pregnancy is not going to work. You've got to get an abortion right now to stop this infection from getting worse and putting you in life-threatening danger. But now that Roe v. Wade has been overturned, she can't do that in certain states, only in certain states. There are states that will allow it. She apparently lived in one that does not. So now she had to wait until the point where the infection became life-threatening. And then at that later stage, they did this surgery that was incredibly arduous. That was very, very bad for her body. She went through all this, and now she may not ever be able to have a kid again. She might have problems with her body for the rest of her life. This is an absolutely awful
Okay, I just looked
story.
it up. According to Wikipedia, all states have exceptions for mother's life. Literally all of them do, and some have rape exceptions. Or most have rape exceptions. So it's bullshit.
Okay? I feel for this woman. This is awful. And this is the fact that this would not have been an issue before Roe v. Wade was overturned. That's a problem. That, in my opinion, this is my opinion. You can disagree. I think that this country, sadly, is too much all this way or all that way, right? If there's a situation where a woman is in life-threatening danger, they should allow the medical procedures to go down to save the life, especially because obviously it sounded like the pregnancy was not going to go through anyway.
Okay, but
so what's the point, right? But it seems like some of the states just said outright ban, no situation whatsoever where this can be done, and that's a problem, in my opinion. And you can disagree, you really can, and that's okay. But for me, looking at this situation as someone trying to be kind of like neutral and understand what's going on, I definitely believe that there should be some situations where something like an abortion is
Every
allowed for
state
medical
has that.
emergencies and things like this. Okay. Now, let me think about this for a second. Okay. What have been the clips that we've watched so far? Trump is the devil. If you're 12 years old and you get sexually abused by your stepdad, you should be able to have an abortion. And if you have a medical emergency where your pregnancy is going wrong, you also should be able to have an abortion. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think about those situations. Does that sound like the vast majority of American voters? I'm just saying, it's horrible that these things happen. We should definitely feel for the people that they happen to, and we should try to find solutions to prevent these situations from happening. But those situations that we're talking about are outlier situations. Those are exceptions to the rule. Those are not things that are incredibly common. Okay? What's sad is that in this study, because I did read up on this, sadly, women of color are way more increasingly at risk for these kind of pregnancy issues. And that's not fair. Just because you're a certain skin color shouldn't mean that now...
No, it's because they don't have the agency to go get treatment. I mean, let's be real here.
You have a higher risk of losing your baby or getting sick or getting an infection. That's really messed up. And I feel for those women. But at the same time, it's an outlier. This is not something that affects every single American. If you're running for president of the United
Diabetes, drugs, all kinds of stuff.
States of America, you're a public servant that's meant to serve the Americans. So should you not have a campaign that's based on things affecting almost...
You know what this reminds me of? You know that meme where, like, the low IQ person has a good take and the high IQ person has a good take and the middle IQ person has a terrible take? This is reminding me of that.
If not every American? She looks like what she did. She chose specific situations, specific kinds of things that happen and said, well, these are the things that Trump doesn't want. Okay, we get it. You don't like Trump. We understand that. But you're not saying what you're going to do to help the common American. You picked this outlier and this exception to the rule and this rare case, and they're all horrible, but they're not common. Maybe if you looked at the common person for a second and said, what did they really need? What did they really want? Maybe then you would have been more in line with what the common person in America wants. And then people would have said, hey, I'm in line with Kamala's way of thought. What she's saying is vibing with me because this is what I care about every single day. Okay? We're going to continue on because there's more here. All right? Let's keep going. One other thing that Kamala liked to do, let me just refresh myself on these. Oh, this is good. Okay. Is Kamala reached out to as many celebrity buddies as she had or as many celebrities as she could pay. And I mean that too, because ladies and gentlemen, this is pretty crazy to believe, but she had celebrities coming to her rallies, coming to her events, saying, hey, I sponsor Kamala, and then walking off the stage 5 seconds later. It happened with Beyonce, who everyone thought was going to do at least like a little mini concert and give people some kind of awesome entertainment. And she literally walks on stage, says hello, and walks off and got paid for it. Oprah Winfrey, it's now been discovered, received 2 $500,000 payments from Kamala Harris's campaign.
Bill actually did research, and the research is actually relevant, and he's actually making, like, this is fucking surreal. I was set to, like, make fun of him, but honestly, especially for a guy who's, like, known for his milquetoast takes, this is not bad. This is not bad at all.
And when she's been questioned about it
and I'm being unironic about that.
This week, she answered, oh, well, that's because I did a town hall for her. I was doing a town hall for her, so I got that. Wait a minute. You ran a town hall and she paid you $1 million? Do you not see the problem there? People gave her campaign $1 million to get her elected, not to pay a celebrity who's already rich to run a town hall.
Not you, this guy. Not you.
Here is a perfect example of what...
This guy. There we go.
Wait a minute. What is this?
Fuck you, you dumb shit.
What is playing? trying to figure out what the fuck. What? Where is that coming from? Okay, I'm trying to figure out where that noise is coming from. Oh, okay. Oops. No. Wait. Okay. Sorry. It just started playing his normal.
For Kamala Harris just a few days before the election. Here we go.
This election is going to be one of the closest in history. Your vote will make the difference. That means you, Gary. Oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm just one person. No. Shut the up, Gary. Last time, only a few thousand votes kept Trump out of office. And this time, we will hold you personally responsible, Gary.
Whoa. Hold on a second here. Seriously, we have to pause. I can't even finish playing the video yet. I want you to listen to what was just said. If you don't vote for Kamala Harris, we're all going to hold you personally responsible. Wait, what? That's a threat. That's not even like, oh, we want you to vote for the best candidate and do it. He literally is threatening anyone out there who doesn't vote for Kamala Harris, but because he's a comedian, that's supposed to be funny and we all laugh. But it's not funny. This is a real life election. This is life and death to some people. At least that's what they believe, right? This is the election to end all elections. So you should be able, with a clear head, to be able to look at the candidates and vote for what you want. And if you want to vote for another candidate, you should be able to. Or if you don't want to vote at all, you should be able to abstain. That's all within your rights as an American. That's part of the whole process of our democratic election system, is that you vote for who you want. There's no repercussions for who you vote for. That's it. That's how it works. He's literally now saying, oh no, if you don't vote for Kamala Harris, you're personally responsible for the fact that Trump got voted in, and we hate you. Well, it's a joke because it's Will Ferrell, right? It's supposed to be fun. It's not funny. It's actually despicable. And this is the kind of shit she had celebrities doing for her during her campaign.
Don't forget to vote, Gary.
Well, guess what, Will Ferrell? Gary forgot to fucking vote. Or he voted for Trump because you were an asshole. Wow. Little backfired there, don't you think? Will? Holy shit. All right. Well, hold on. I received a $2.25 tip.
Like, is anybody else shocked? Like, we're getting actual takes that make sense. I mean, they're not anything like crazy, but he did research. He did show prep. He has videos open. He watched them. Like, this is surprisingly competent.
Here you go. So someone tips me $2.25 and says, oh, it's okay for Trump to badmouth people, but not Kamala. No, who said that? Who said that? What I'm doing is I'm systematically showing you Kamala Harris's campaign. This is what she ran on. Every single video we're watching is a tiny issue that only affects a select fringe group of people, or it's I hate Donald Trump. That was her entire campaign, do you see? And we're not done. We got a couple more to check out, and then we're going to kind of summarize, right? And by the way, just for the record, since you don't seem to get it, I'm not the only one who's saying this. Democrats are. And you're going to see that at the very end. Probably your one of your biggest idols came out this week with something very scathing that we're about to watch together, and I think you're really going to like this, okay? So anyway, no, I didn't say any of that, but thanks for the tip. And let's see here. Again, yeah, this person is tipping me and basically angry at me because they think I like Donald Trump. Could I say something up front? I don't like Donald Trump at all. I think he's an awful leader, and he's a pretty bad person. Okay? Well, that's not what we're addressing tonight. We're addressing how the Democrats lost the election. So there you go. Okay? All right, shall we continue? Let's continue. The next video, all right, here's a good one too. This one is going to be very funny. We're going to watch it, and then we're going to read the comments. Okay, here we go.
Kamala Harris has spent decades fighting violent crime. As a border state prosecutor, she took on drug cartels and jailed gang members for smuggling weapons and drugs across the border. As vice president, she backed the toughest border control bill in decades. And as president, she will hire thousands more border agents and crack down on fentanyl and human trafficking. Fixing the border is tough. So is Kamala Harris.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
So we're going to read the comments, but the initial thing you have to say is, wait a minute. We have documented evidence. We have reporting that our borders are insecure, that we have people coming in from Mexico in record numbers. This is true. This is not a lie or even exaggeration. This is true right now. Our border is a mess to the south. It's just tons of people coming in illegally. Okay? This is documented. Who was in charge of the government in the last 4 years? Was it Donald Trump? It was her. She was in charge. She's the reason that we have the border issue. So if you reelect her, she'll fix it. But she had 4 years to fix it. She was in charge. How did it get this bad? If something's already bad under someone's watch, why would you then believe that if you give them a second chance, this time they'll take it seriously and fix the issue? You had 4 years and you didn't take care of it. So you're not going to take care of it. It doesn't matter what you say in this video or what you even, what your track record is. Doesn't matter. You didn't do it in your 4 years in office. And by the way, that was her job. As vice president, she was given the task of controlling the border and fixing it, and she didn't do it at all. So what is this video? I don't even understand what we just watched. It's literally all lies. Okay? Let's take a look at some comments. As vice president, she was assigned to the border. She did nothing. She's not tough. She did back that bill, which Republicans helped. Very good. It's going to work. We're going to go for roughly another hour. We're going to Donald Trump. That's basically all lies. A video about Donald Trump being a monster. You will be protected if you have issues with, a pregnancy. You'll still be able to have an abortion. If someone is, viciously, having sexual abuse of someone and they're underage, you'll still be able to get an abortion. All right. Then we had Will Ferrell threatening you, telling you absolutely must vote for Kamala Harris or he's going to personally blame you for what happens after. That's her campaign so far. Now, to be fair, there's many more videos, but this is just a sampling of the kind of stuff that she was putting out over the course of her 3 to 4 month campaign. You understand? This is just kind of in summary. This is the kind of stuff that you could have found if you were looking for her content. Let's continue on with a couple more. We just did the border security video, which is, again, if she's in charge of the border for 4 years, why is the border so bad? What makes me think that in the next 4 years that she serves as president instead of vice president, that anything will change? The track record speaks for itself, correct? Okay, so here's her actual conclusion video, all right? This was the one she put out just a couple days before the election happened. Supposed to be her big, brighter future closing ad. This is the way that, the campaign is going to end. Okay? Here we go. Let's watch. If it's too loud, I'll lower it.
Come here, Hannah. Shake my hand.
Yeah.
How you doing? Good.
And bring everybody back together.
And that's exactly how I feel.
That's what I'm doing, man.
Okay, you
So,
have to stay in touch with me, okay?
I would
I'm
love
very
to.
serious about that.
Love to.
Okay. Throughout this campaign, I've seen the best of America, and I've seen what is holding you back and weighing you down. High costs, fundamental rights taken away, and politics that have driven fear and division. You deserve better. As president, I'll bring a new generation of leadership. I'll take on price gouging and bring down the cost of groceries and housing and prescriptions.
Okay? How exactly? You were in charge for 4 years. You were in charge for 4 years and everything went up. So how are you now going to miraculously cure this problem that you created in your 4 years in charge of the United States government? Saying.
I'll fight for your freedom to make your own choices, and I will protect your health care and your benefits, not take them away. The vast majority of people in our country have so much more in common than what separates them. Good people, hardworking people. We see in our fellow Americans.
Very inspiring filmmaking, big sweeping shots with the inspirational music in the background, right?
neighbors, not enemies. We believe in each other. We believe in our country. We're not falling for these folks who are trying to divide us. Together.
I mean, I don't really like LG343. I don't really follow Phil that closely. Like I said, this is something that's been pending for like 10 years. So I wanted to see what he actually produced. And I'm going to be honest, like I said, this is unironically better than probably about 90% of politics shows I've seen.
Keep in mind, we just watched several videos from her campaign saying that my opponent is essentially the devil. And if you get him elected, everything's going to end. The world will essentially end, is what the video said. Now she's saying, we don't want to be with people who divide. Well, what do you think you did with those videos? Do you think people thought happy thoughts about our future? No, they thought this is the end of everything. You divided with those videos too.
Also, like, once again, and like in all 100 being 100% serious, not being sarcastic or anything, this is unironically actually pretty good.
So listen, I'm not one to defend Trump and his rhetoric because he absolutely over the top has rhetoric that's crazy exaggerated. He says things that aren't true or gross exaggerations of the truth, but she's no better. She did exactly the same thing with her campaign, but then preaches unity and protection for the people. By the way, World War III is coming if Trump becomes president. Like, what? It's literally the opposite of what you're saying in this.
Yeah, I get what you mean, LG343. I understand, and it's some people don't like it when I cover lolcows. I try not to do it too often. A lot of the time it's because I think I have something to offer, and I think you can learn a lot of life lessons. Now, we're not really learning any life lessons from this, but I don't know, I like to mix things up a bit. I don't want to be one of those people who just only does videos about how the West has fallen and degeneracy and stuff like that.
The same sentence. You're pulling like a Review Tech USA where you say one thing and then you just completely contradict yourself later on in the same sentence.
We'll build a brighter future for our nation where we stand for freedom. We stand for justice. We stand for the dignity of work.
I'm not trying to be defensive, or I'm just explaining. Because I think it's a fair criticism. Sorry, sometimes if it seems like I'm being really defensive when somebody says something, it's because I think it's a like a fair criticism, and I'm trying to give like an honest response to it. It's not that I'm like offended by it or upset by it. I think that's a fair point to make.
We haven't yet quite reached all of those ideals, but we will die trying because we love our country.
Oh, I like to say it. That's such a bad. So we don't really actually do anything. We didn't get any of those ideals we want. We're trying, but man, we keep failing because we suck. I mean, we were in charge for the last 4 years, and now the country has way worse crime, high inflation, high prices, jobs suck, everything's bad, healthcare sucks, our borders are open, fucking people flooding in. But, you know, maybe one day we'll get there. If you elect us in 17, 18 more times in a row, maybe then we'll get something done. But what a dumb thing to say in your closing statement. Right? That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in anyone's closing statement. Just keep voting us in because we keep failing. We're not really doing anything. But, you know, just keep doing it anyway because, you know, Trump's the devil.
Now, the baton is in our hands. I pledge to seek common sense solutions to make your life better.
But again, common sense solutions to make your life better. Okay, well, where were they? You were the current administration. Where were your common sense solutions?
Honestly, if Phil had like a half-hour politics show on Fox, I'd probably watch it.
People are screaming at you for help, and you're just saying, well, elect me again. No, why didn't you help us before?
And I pledge to be a president for all Americans.
Unless you vote for Donald Trump, because Gary, we're coming after you if you vote for Donald Trump, which is literally 2 videos ago.
Now I'm asking for your vote. Because as president, I will get up every day and fight for the American people.
Literally that entire...
Sorry for if I keep pausing, but I can't watch too much of this one sitting. I was thinking about it. I think, and I really especially noticed this in the comments people have after this election. Liberals, at least left wing people in the modern day, at least, have no ability, have absolutely no empathy, and I mean that in the sense of being able to sympathize or put yourself in the mind of somebody else. The fact that they think that the only reason people voted for Trump is because they're pro rape. Um, well, I mean, Constantine, he hasn't talked about Trump. He, like, to be fair to him, he's not talking about Trump. He's not saying what he thinks about. Well, he mentioned it briefly, but he's just basically criticizing their campaign for being entirely about abortion and Trump is the devil and not having any kind of message. I mean, like, you can say what you want about Obama, but Obama had good messaging. He ran on hope and change. Now, it might have been cringy, but he at least tried to portray like some sort of a brighter future. Like, we're moving beyond the politics of fear, we're moving beyond the financial crisis, and stuff like that. But yeah, so I think like Obama ran a really good campaign. McCain ran one of the worst probably the worst campaign I've ever seen. It was probably worse than Harris's actually, but yeah.
Fire video is bullshit. It's all fluff. None of it means anything. It's just buzzwords and political feel-good music with the sweeping camera, but you didn't say anything. You didn't explain what happened in the last 4 years, why things have gotten the way they have, and what you're going to do to fix them. You just said these things.
So I think, and my uncle said this, and I think it's very true. One of the problems we have in the West is we're ruled by managers and not by leaders. We aren't ruled by people who have any kind of vision. Now, you can say what you want about Reagan, but Reagan had a vision. He had a vision for America, and it was a hopeful one. It was about America's place in the world. It made Americans feel good about being American. And you could agree or disagree with that, but he was actually had some ideas, some bigger ideas, something that spoke to the soul of America. And like, none of this speaks the soul of America. None of this speaks like is any kind of offers any kind of hope. Like, to me, perhaps the most iconic image of the entire campaign is Trump waving from the drive-in window. And it's like, that's the kind of America people think about. That's the kind of America that like people want and people like. And it is very nostalgic, but like it at least Trump had, once again, and I keep repeating this over and over again, but I think it's just a very important point. The reason people like Trump is because he doesn't have open contempt for the American people. He genuinely does like America and does like the American people. It may be in a very narcissistic, self-important way, but he does not hate the average American. Kamala definitely hates the average American. Obama despised the average American. So did Hillary. Trump actually likes the average American. And so you can argue like him going to McDonald's and stuff like that. It's very goofy. It's obviously because he is like a billionaire who likes the high life and likes fancy stuff. It's kind of, there's a certain irony to it. But I think when Trump says he has your back, even if it's only out of his personal narcissism, I think that is more believable than Kamala saying that she has your back.
Things are wrong, we'll fix them. That's great. But why are they bad? Explain what went wrong. You ever thought about something called transparency? Like, okay, here's what happened. We effed up here. This was already going bad maybe because of Trump, and we couldn't really, but now we're going to fix it. And here's how. No, it's Trump's the devil. Don't vote for him or we're coming after you. Here's a bunch of fringe things on the outside of what is mainstream concerns of Americans. And these are the things we're going to focus on because Trump is anti those things.
Like, and I'll say this with Mr. Harper too, and I always call him Mr. Harper just because I don't know. I don't agree with a lot of what he did, but I do have a lot of respect for the man. I don't think hated the Canadian people. I think there's a lot of things you can say about Stephen Harper. I don't think he hated Canada in the way that Justo does. Justo despises Canada. He despises the Canadian people. It's very obvious. I don't think Harper did.
So that's what we'll focus on instead of what is the thing that the common American was looking for, right? What do you think the common American was looking for? We're about to find out. That's actually what we're about to analyze next. You ready? Let's continue. So first off, actually, I did these in the wrong order. Here it is. Young Black and Latino men say they chose Trump because of the economy and jobs.
I think I've said this in the past, but my grandfather was really big in fundraising and conservative politics. When he died, Stephen Harper wrote like a little letter to my grandmother, like saying that he was like just expressing his condolences. I have that up on the wall at the moment.
Wait, hold on a second. The economy and jobs. But according to the Democrats, we have absolutely record numbers of jobs available. The economy is great. It's booming. It's pumping. The economy is absolutely amazing. I don't understand all the rhetoric
that Phil gets it incomparably more than Will Stencil
that I hear in the mainstream, liberal media is that the country's good. That's what
I've been messaging Ashton. I've been trying to get him to do Will Stencil. I don't know if he's like the kind of lolcow they normally cover, but I really want to see them blow out Will Stencil.
I've heard. So I don't understand. Why did young Black and Latino men say that they need help with the economy and job? I don't get it. So here we go. So Donald Trump gained a larger share of Black and Latino voters than he did in 2020, and most notably among men under age 45. A 31-year-old small business owner from Belton, Texas, was not surprised a growing number of Latino men in his generation voted for Donald Trump for president. He voted for the Republican also 2 times before. He benefits from Trump's economic policies, especially tax cuts. I'm a blue-collar worker. Tax breaks for small businesses are ideal for what I do. A consultant from Fairfax says a vote for Trump was rooted in what he saw as Democrats' rhetoric not matching their actions. It's been a very long time since the Democrats ever really keep their promises to what they're going to do for the minority communities. Galashaw, who is Black, voted for Trump twice before. This year, he said he thought the former president's minority community outreach actually showed up. All right? Look, economy and jobs made men under age 45 more open to Trump. We watched all those campaign videos about Kamala Harris. Where was she talking about this? These are the people she wants to vote for her, but literally she didn't address any of the things that they wanted. She had, here's a fringe issue.
Like it's base. I will give Phil credit for this. He is good at drilling down to things on a very basic level. And that is a more rare a talent than people might think. They're not the highest IQ takes. They're not the most sophisticated or educated takes. But Phil is able to drill things down to a very low level, to a very base level, and distill it. And I will give him credit for that. And when DSP was doing drama videos, I think he was very good at it because he was able to just get through a lot of the bullshit. So I'll give him credit. I just tweeted at him on Twitter. He probably has me blocked, but I said he did a good job with the stream.
About, the woman who gets an infection when she's trying to have a baby and now she couldn't get the abortion, right? And then she says, I'm tough on the border, but she's not because she was in charge of the border and the border got worse. Like, you weren't in line with what Americans wanted. In fact, take a look at this. You're going to love this one, all right? This is great. As ballots continue to be counted, because this was November 7th, but here was the tally. So, as of Thursday of last week, the election was over. Trump had already won, okay? Harris got 68 million votes.
Yeah, Phil's take is 6 out of 10, but compared to, once again, the average journalist take on Twitter is that Trump won because men like rape. And that's not even really an exaggeration.
compared to Joe Biden's 81 million in 2020. Trump had 72 million votes, which is close to the 74 million he received 4 years ago. Wait, what? You hear that, right? Trump got less votes in 2020. And I mean, again, that seems kind of... Here we go.
Let's skip ahead a bit.
Bernie Sanders shares scathing reaction to Trump's win.
10,000 years.
An HBO original? Holy shit, this is a scathing reaction. Can we just get the video without this fucking ad?
Okay,
No?
so we're at the film festival.
No, we're at the film festival. Get the fuck... All right. Hold on. These bastards and their ads got me. All right, hold on a second. Let me get past the film festival. This stupid ad has to screw with my big finale here. Fucking self-felted on my own first political stream. God damn it. It's bullshit. Stupid shit. All right, it's almost done. What a pain in my ass. Okay. Wow, some people are really delayed because they're still saying Bernie is not a Democrat in the chat. Yeah, we already covered that. Bro.
Well, I mean, he
all right,
is,
here we go.
but...
Ready? Pause, rewind, unmute. Oh, crap. This video is terrible. They're using an awful video player on this site. Okay. Here we go. Bernie Sanders on what actually happened in the election. Ready?
The scathing response that you gave after the Democrats lost, Kamala Harris lost pretty big, you said the Democrats abandoned the working class. The chairman of the DNC called it straight up BS and said...
So the chairman of the DNC, okay, and I believe actually he got into a big fight with Nancy Pelosi over this in the last week too.
Joe Biden is the most pro-worker president of my lifetime. Former Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she disagreed with you. She added, quote, Bernie Sanders has not won. Do you stand by what you said?
Oh, absolutely. Look, Joe Biden is a friend of mine. I've been proud to work with him on an agenda which has been very strongly in favor of the working class. Biden promised to be the most progressive president since FDR. In many ways, on domestic issues, I think he kept his word. But here is the reality. The working class of this country is angry, and they have a reason to be angry. We are living in an economy today, Donna, where the people on top are doing phenomenally well, while 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck.
And the funny part about that is, if you ask the liberal media, how is our economy doing? They say, great. Everything's great. Jobs are at a record high. Unemployment's at a record low. Everything's great. Like, but wait a minute. Then why can't I afford anything? I'm living paycheck to pay. I can't buy groceries for my family. Why are you reporting that everything's great in our country? Because they're reporting on the 1 per fucking cent. They're rolling in money. They've got investments out the ass. They've got money. Nancy fucking Pelosi just made insane amounts of money investing in NVIDIA stocks. NVIDIA. Do you think she fucking knows what NVIDIA even is? No. But this class who controls our country, okay, are so disconnected from the real reality of life. They actually believe that right now, our country is on a boom. We've got so many great jobs, so much money flowing like a river. Where the fuck is it? Because people can't see it and they don't have it. They can't afford basic shit anymore. So why are you saying it's good? Because it's good for them. It's the illusion. Use the media to report skewed facts, a skewed perspective, a distorted reality, so that people think that things are better than they are. Then they can't blame Biden and Kamala for everything being bad because they don't know everything's bad. But the common person saw through it. The common person said, no, the last 4 years, things got worse for us in the United States. Inflation is way up. Interest rates are way up. Prices are way up. The jobs are not good like they're reporting. They're claiming there's all this plethora of jobs. There's not. This is bullshit. You want to know what jobs are available in the United States? Go work for fast food. Go work at a retail store where you get 10 hours a week and you can't get enough hours to earn health care. That's the jobs that are in America right now. There's no big careers. There's no more there's an illusion of an American dream, but the American dream doesn't exist. The only way you can live the American dream is if you have money already. Then you can invest your money somewhere and make more money. If you're going into it on ground level, which is what the American dream is supposed to be, you start equal with everyone, you work hard, you get ahead, you go to school, you get an education, now you can get a job, that job becomes a career, then the career becomes a big income stream that now you can have a family. It doesn't exist anymore. People go to school, they come out, they got a degree that's worth nothing. You can wipe your ass with your fucking college diploma because you can't get a job anymore. Go work the fucking service industry job. Go work fast food. Go wait tables. That's not a fucking career. And that's what they're reporting. Those are the jobs they're telling us about that are so good in our...
I have a friend who can't even get a job at McDonald's. I mean, it's much worse in Canada because we've had so many Indians flood the country. Basically, everything minimum wage is just run by them. I know, like, the Tim Hortons near my work is just atrocious now because it's entirely staffed by Indians. And they get my order wrong. Like, I don't know how you get, like, donut orders wrong, but they do.
In our country right now. The common person is tired of being lied to. Everyone is seeing through the rhetoric now, the bullshit. We had 4 years of this, and now we're like, enough. Enough. And listen, not that life was perfect under Trump. It was not. It definitely was not. A lot of things were kind of messed up there too. But this last 4 years, most Americans are agreeing things went downhill. Much for the worse of how it was before. And people don't want another 4 years of promises and lied to stories about kumbaya, hold hands, rainbows and unicorns, jobs are up, money's up, everything's up, when in reality, no one sees that but the rich. Only the rich class are seeing the benefits of all these things that the Democrats are claiming are real. So then why the fuck would we vote for the Democrats? And Bernie Sanders, who used to be Democratic, who used to be one of the top Democrats, is here destroying them.
25% of elderly people are trying to get by on $15,000 a year or less. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth, and parents all over this country worry that their kids may have a lower standard of living than they do. That is the economic reality. And what Donald Trump did is provided an explanation. He went around, he said, I know you're angry, and the reason is that zillions of illegal immigrants are coming over, and they're eating your cats and dogs and everything else.
And that's the funny part. He said all that, and it's all stupid, but at least he gave an explanation, while the Democrats were sitting there saying, well, it's all untrue, but people were experiencing it firsthand. I don't have money. I can't get a good job. All this is happening to me. How can you say it's not real? And then Donald Trump said, well, it's because of crazy people coming over the border eating everything. Like there was a zombie. He should have just said there was a zombie invasion. Did you miss it? They came through. They ate the bottom 4 states. People still would have believed it because it's better than what the Democrats were saying. It really, it's just insanity.
Well, that's the reason. Well, obviously, that is not the reason. The reason is, in my view, that we have an unprecedented level of corporate greed today, more income and wealth inequality, and people on top want it all. And we need an agenda that says to the working class, we're going to take on these powerful special interests and create an economy and a government that works for you. And by the way, that can't happen unless you get big money out of politics. We got to get rid of the Citizens United Supreme Court decision so billionaires do not continue to buy elections.
So I'm going to close this down because it's going to play another thing that I didn't even want, okay? So very interesting that that's how he summarizes it, right? So where was all of that discussion in the Kamala Harris campaign? Did she even bring up anything about corporations controlling all the wealth? Once? Right? Here's the thing. So a lot of people are morons in chat and they're saying, oh, so now I'm like, I love Bernie Sanders. I actually don't love him either. I like some of his ideas, but Bernie is an ultra progressive, and ultra progressives tend to always want the absolute polarized best for their line of thinking without actually thinking about the cost of doing it. You know, like he would love if there would be like a 3-day work week and people could be paid insanely high minimum wages and shit like that. And it's like, now how would that work? Because no matter what, someone has to pay for everything. There's nothing free. And that's the problem with guys like him is they go so extreme. Well, then who's going to end up paying for everything, right? Like they've lost.
Yeah, I think this confirms what I thought. I always viewed Phil as being like a moderate Republican, I think is a good way to put it. I mean, the fact that Phil is like a heterosexual white male who's married and owns his own business basically guarantees that he's at least in the center of the political spectrum.
The ideas and bad execution. But anyway, the point that I've been making in this very long segment tonight is the reason that the Democrats lost the 2024 presidential election isn't because the Americans went nuts and decided to vote for Hitler 2.0 or a fascist dictator who they don't want to be, have their rights ripped away. That's what they voted for. The guy who's a sexual predator and he's a criminal and he's a felon and he's all these things. That's not what Americans were voting for whatsoever. That's what the Democrats made the campaign about, but the Americans didn't care. It's very, very simple. Here's what happened. Americans looked at the years of 2016 to 2020 when Donald Trump was president, and they looked at their own life situations, and they said, during this time period, how was...
Oh, dude, it's incomparably worse in Canada. Like, the equivalent... I'm trying to think what the equivalent would be in America. It would be like if you had 10 million immigrants come in every year. It is like the equivalent. If you had 10 million people from India come in every year, would probably be like an equivalent level.
My life. Did I have money? Did I have a job? How were my kids? How was my health? What was going on in the country? And how did it all go? And they probably thought back to a time when things were not perfect, but they were better than they are now. But they remembered that constantly all they ever heard on TV was how the president was sending another unhinged tweet at someone. And all the media would do is talk about how our president's unhinged and he's the end of everything and blah, 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 blah. And then he got voted out in 2020, right? And then we had Biden and Harris for 4 years. And then they probably looked at their life situations during those 4 years. And they said, okay, so in the last 4 years, we had a president who didn't send mean tweets. He was not unhinged and saying stupid shit constantly. Okay? I mean, he could barely walk. He was probably pooping himself half the time and barely conscious. But, that's what happens when you get that old. But at least he wasn't causing big situations of drama constantly, right? He had himself under control. But how was my life in those 4 years? Well, let's see. I had less money, or what I really should say, not you had less money, your money's worth less, right? You're making the same amount of money, but now what you used to be able to get with that money has been reduced dramatically for some bizarre reason that the Democrats don't want to talk about, right? They don't want to admit that prices.
The reason I don't cover Canadian politics, LG343, is because it's too depressing. Like, it's way more depressing than American politics.
They're sky high. That inflation is super high. Interest rates have skyrocketed under the last 4 years that they've been in control of the government. They want to say, oh, well, it's Trump this and Trump that and Roe v. Wade. Great. How did that affect the line level shit that I saw every day around me? For some people, the abortion thing is a huge deal. I absolutely sympathize with the two women whose stories we just experienced tonight on this stream. No one should have to be, go through that kind of abuse that girl did when she was 12. And, she got an abortion because, she was raped and, geez, awful situation. The woman who had the kid and, then all of a sudden in the middle of the pregnancy, there's the infection. She can't get the abortion. So now she has to get this crazy, operation later, and it destroys her body. And now she might not have a kid. I feel horrible for them, but they're exceptions to the rule. When you're becoming a public servant, you have to find what the common threads are that people are interested in the most to commonly serve the most people at once. Okay. Yes, you can also handle the outliers. You can do that, but you must handle the common things first. And the Democrats seem to stay away from the common threads of what people wanted in America more than anything else. There was no open discussions on how to fix this shit. Only, re-elect us and we'll make things better. But you're already in power, right? You in any election cycle, it's easier to be the incoming party that takes over from a party that is messed up than to get reelected. Because to get reelected, you had to have 4 good years. And the Democrats did not. Biden and Harris did not. And all the other Democrats that were in charge, you know, at this time were not doing a good job for the common American person, period. Or else they wouldn't have lost the common vote. Maybe they would have still lost the electoral college vote. But absolutely, they wouldn't have lost the common vote. They lost everyone's common vote. And it's their own fault because they have Will Ferrell and Beyonce and Oprah dancing around like puppets, getting paid giant sums of money to do so, by the way. And no one gives a shit about them anymore. No one. Oh, wait, you're telling me that the Swifties couldn't win the election? Well, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? I have a big news flash for you. Swifties don't fucking vote. They sit there brainwashed listening to Taylor Swift all day. They probably don't even know how to vote. All right? It didn't affect anything that Taylor Swift said to vote for Kamala Harris. All those cat women sitting around their homes with 14, 15 cats, guess what? Their cats can't vote. So it didn't matter that they were behind Harris because there were only one vote. The common fucking person voted and won this election. So the answer is quite simple. The Democrats were not in line with the American people, and that's why they lost the election.
Well, I think that is where I'm going to wrap it up. Unironically, a pretty good stream from Phil. If he did another political stream, I might even watch it. I don't think I'd stream it because I don't think it's really entertaining enough to make fun of it or something like that. But you know, it's not bad. Not bad. It's way better than his fucking gameplay. It's way better than his gameplay. So God bless everybody. Thank you very much. I think what I'll probably do is in the next couple weeks, it's coming up to my birthday, and I always like to do a video just reflecting on the past year. Just thinking about the past year, thinking about where I am in life. Just trying to be, as always, trying hard to be grateful for what I have, for what God's given me. So, like I said, God bless everybody.